On the news tonight, Governor Oyetola urges supporters to remain calm. INEC to resume storage of election materials with CBN. Nigerians lament fuel price hike, urge government's intervention. While on the foreign scene, India legislators vote to elect a new president. Good evening and welcome to the major reports. I am Olubomi Ajiboye Agbola. Secret to the results of the Osun State governorship election, the state governor, Mr. Adegboyega Oyetola, has taken cognizance of the results of the governorship election in the state as announced by the Independent National Electoral Commission. The governor, however, noted that the party would be responding appropriately after studying the results and consulting with critical stakeholders of the party. In a statement issued by Chief Press Secretary Ismail Omepedon, Governor Oyetola called on his supporters to remain calm and the people of the state to go about their businesses without violence or hindrance. He also called on security operatives to ensure maintenance of law and order. Governor Oyetola therefore directed security operatives to take adequate charge so as to prevent breakdown of law and order. Meanwhile, the Osun State Police Command has attributed the peaceful nature of the recently concluded governorship election in the state to the unity among all security agencies, as well as the cooperation of members of the public. The command, who stated this in a post-election interview with OSBC News, assured that future elections will record more success. Our reporter, Oluchi Amoda, has the details.
Prior to the July 16 governorship election in Osun State, members of the public, most especially the eligible voters, were apprehensive about what the security situation would look like. Their fears and concerns were hinged on past election experiences in Nigeria, where some polling units usually tend to battleground, and in some cases, ballot boxes are snatched by thugs employed by politicians. Some parents also prevent their wards who are of voting age from exercising their franchise due to fears of election violence. However, the reverse seemed to be the case in the recently concluded governorship election in the state. The police had in various fora with other sister agencies reaffirmed of its readiness to maintaining law and order before, during, and after the election.
Adequate security arrangements have been made for the 3 senatorial districts. Adequate deployment has been made for the 332 wards. Adequate deployment has equally been made for 3,763 polling units. In the course of our deployment, we have been able to deploy to the land. We have equally been able to deploy air deployment, where we have mission-specific air surveillance. We have a number of helicopters here for that purpose. We also discovered that Osun State has littoral community, coastal community, somewhere at Ashejire, that is the northern part of Osun State. Though it's a small dam, I felt strongly that there is the need for us to equally police the waterways. And for that reason, we have equally made deployment of the police marine on the waterways.
Some actually took the assurance and reassurances with a pinch of salt. The peaceful nature of the election was a surprise to many who said it is too good to be true. While speaking with OSBC News on the preview of the security situation during the election, the police public relations officer DSP Yemisi Opalola has attributed to the success of the election to the synergy and unity among all security agencies in the state, as well as the cooperation of members of the public.
We thank God it is truly peaceful. At least when you are looking at the way elections used to go. We say it's as a result of God intervention. That's number one thing. Apart from that, it's because of the unity, synergy between the security agencies. Because when you work together, you are bound to make success. Because This synergy has started when since CP Olawale Olokode came. He called all of them together, and since then we have been having meetings together. And even when it's on that template that other things are being built.
She assured members of the public that subsequent elections would witness more successes in the country.
We are, we should learn more from experience. We have seen something, the crime of like 10 years ago is not the same as the crime. It's dimensional. It's not the same thing as what we are experiencing now. And from what is happening, that is when you learn. You learn more from your experience. Like what we experience in this election now has taught us some other lessons. Other criminal activities that we are able to witness, we will have improved on that. From this experience, we will have planned more, against the next election.
Analysts believe that a safe and peaceful polling unit would eliminate voter apathy and increase electorate confidence in the electoral process. Oluchi Amuda, OSBC News.
Oyo State House of Assembly has picked the chairman, Oyo State Housing Corporation, Adebayo Lawal, as deputy governor after the impeachment of Mr. Rauf Olaniyan as the deputy governor of Oyo State. Reports say Mr. Olaniyan's removal followed the State Assembly's adoption of the report of the 7-man panel constituted by the Chief Judge of Oyo State, Judge Monta Bimbola, to investigate allegations of gross misconduct against the Deputy Governor at its plenary today. The majority leader of the Oyo State House of Assembly, Sonjo Adedoyin, said the Deputy Governor was found culpable, indicted of all allegations, all complaints leveled against him. Mr. Olaniyan was elected in 2019 on a joint ticket with Oyo State Governor Seyi Makinde on the platform of the People's Democratic Party until his recent defection to the opposition, the All Progressives Congress. Oyo Assembly said Mr. Olaniyan's removal from office is backed by Section 188, subsection 9 of the 1999 Constitution as amended. Ekiti State Governor Dr. Kayode Fayemi has terminated the appointment of his political aides with effect from July 31st. The termination is contained in a memo signed by the Secretary to the state government in Ado-Ekiti, Ekiti State, Mr. Folusho Daramola. According to the memo, the services of all senior special assistants, technical assistants, and executives assistants will end on July 31st to enable the state government process all outstanding allowances of the affected officials, more so that the government is winding up. The memo also added that the action was also to ensure payment of entitlements of the political office holders and their terminal benefits for a smooth transmission from the incumbent administration to the new government. It will be recalled that the governor-elect of Ekiti State, Biodun Oyebanji, candidate of the All Progressives Congress, was declared winner of the governorship election by the Independent National Electoral Commission on June 19 after polling a total of 187,057 votes. Meanwhile, the Independent National Electoral Commission is planning to resume the storage of sensitive election materials with the Central Bank of Nigeria. INEC National Commissioner for Information and Voter Education, Mr. Festus Okoye, who gave the hints during a television program, said the commission would resume engagement with the CBN to resolve issues concerning the storage of election materials ahead of the 2023 general elections. It will be recalled that INEC had declared that sensitive election materials would no longer be routed through the Apex Bank following the controversy surrounding the interest of the CBN Governor Godwin Emefiele to contest the 2023 presidential election under the ruling All Progressives Congress. The commission fulfilled its obligations as sensitive materials used during the recently conducted Ekiti and Osun governorship polls were stored at INEC's office in the state. However, Mr. Okoye warned that INEC was in for a logistics nightmare if it does not have a form of parley with the CBN over its election material storage issues before the 2023 poll. He insisted that the recently concluded elections in Ekiti and Osun governorship storage measures will not be tenable going into the general elections in 2023. The Nigerian Labour Congress has said that it would embark on a nationwide protest on July 26 and 27 in solidarity with the trade unions in the Nigeria public universities and others. The NLC president, Mr. Ayuba Waba, said this in a circular jointly signed by Mr. Emmanuel Uboja, General Secretary of the Congress in Abuja. According to Mr. Awaba, the action is in line with the decisions of the National Executive Council meeting of the Nigeria Labour Congress held last month. Also, in a separate statement, Mr. Awaba faulted the federal government's purported rejection of the NIMI Briggs Committee report of the university-based unions negotiations. The Academic Staff Union of Universities and other trade unions in the education sector have been on strike for over 5 months over alleged failure of governments to keep to agreement entered with the unions. The demands of the striking workers include issues bordering on funding of universities, salaries, and earned allowances of lecturers. Meanwhile, the Academic Staff Union of Universities is planning to suspend its over 5-month strike conditionally tomorrow in response to the appeals by various stakeholders and President Muhammadu Buhari. It was learned that the striking lecturers might suspend their action while negotiation continues on key aspects of the union's demand. On conclusion of renegotiation of 2009 agreement with the federal government committee chaired by Emeritus Professor Neme Briggs, President of ASU, Professor Emmanuel Oshodeke, gave hope that the strike would be cut off immediately the agreement is signed by the government. Nigerians have called on the government and other stakeholders across board to intervene as they lament on the shortage and increase in the prices of petroleum products. They made a call while speaking with OSBC News on the need for the federal government and concerned stakeholders to regulate the prices of the products. Oluwatobiloba Odunuga has the details.
The crisis in Nigeria seems not to be abating soon as the federal government and the Independent Petroleum Marketers Association of Nigeria, IPMAN, failed to reach an agreement about the fuel price. The federal government had insisted that petrol should not be sold above 165 naira per litre, while the independent marketers said pegging the pump price at 165 naira per litre is unrealistic. According to the IPMAN president, Elder Chinedu Okoronko, the Russian-Ukraine war are part of the reasons causing the poor inflow of the petroleum products globally.
Because of this Ukraine and Russian war, there is energy problem globally. But we must thank the leadership of this country who foresaw that a time like this might come, especially this election year we're entering, in order not to allow people use it as a campaign reason to have ensured this 4 trillion. It might be enough, it might not be enough, but it's a way to addressing some of these problems.
Speaking in the same vein, President Association of Distributors and Transporters of Petroleum Products in Nigeria, Alhaji Mohammed Danzaki, maintained that for many years Nigerians have been suffering from the fuel scarcity, adding that the government is doing everything humanly possible to rescue Nigerians from the situation.
The government is doing its best to make sure that it put a lot of money for the subsidy so that Nigerians will take this petrol or energy at subsidized rates. But unfortunately for us, there are a lot of problems in the industry. And we as a transporters add it up, and the IPMAN as the owners of the filling station, we are the victim of all these problems that happen in the industry.
OSBC News observation in some filling stations within Osogbo metropolis showed that fuel is being sold between 175 naira and 200 naira per litre. Some of the residents who spoke on the increase in pump price lamented that Nigerians are already battling with high cost of living, urging the federal government and concerned stakeholders to come to their rescue.
We're supposed to be sitting to be getting and going, but we find ourselves killing and wasting all the whole day on police station, especially in the front of an MP store. So it's not funny. We are not happy about that.
There's no much profit to be made because when you spend the whole money on petrol, how do you make extra money? It's not possible. And you have to give the best to your customers. Because you can't tell a customer because of fuel you delayed or because of fuel you couldn't deliver on time. So one has to just look for a means to deliver.
As Nigerians strive daily to get the petroleum product, it seems the intervention of the government and other stakeholders across the board is urgently needed. Oluwa Tobi Loba Odunuga, reporting for OSBC News.
Arm of the Central Bank of Nigeria and the Monetary Policy Committee have met to tackle inflationary concerns affecting the country's economy. Oyinyechi Nwachinemire now has the details.
In the face of economic and financial challenges, members of the rate-fixing arm of the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, the Monetary Policy Committee, MPC, face tough choices in the next 2 days as the sustained inflationary pressure remains a major challenge for the Apex Bank. The MPC, while citing inflationary concerns during its last meeting in May, had resolved to raise the monetary policy by 150 basis points to 13% in response to the global inflationary pressures, which had continued to hurt economies around the world. After holding the benchmark rate constant at 11.5% for about 2.5 years, analysts say that inflation is likely to top the MPC's agenda following the current commodities supply gaps in the global economy. Meanwhile, the price of crude oil has climbed above the $100 mark yesterday, hitting $101.16 per barrel after trading around $98 per barrel, as oil marketers in Nigeria maintained an increased pump price for premium motor spirit, popularly called petrol, higher than the approved rate. Industry figures showed that Brent, the international benchmark for crude, moved up by $2.06 at $101.16 per barrel. The report showed that the Brent had dropped in price by $7.72 at $99.38 per barrel. According to reports, the fluctuations in oil price came as latest figures released by the Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries, OPEC, showed an increase in Nigeria's oil production from 1.024 million barrels per day to 1.158 million barrels per day. The appreciation in crude oil price yesterday and fluctuations in Nigeria's oil price came as oil marketers across the country maintained the hike in the pump prices of petrol at filling stations. Elsewhere, the Nigerian Turkey Business Council, NTBC, led by its president, Dele Oye, had embarked on a trade mission to Turkey to strengthen bilateral ties between Nigeria and Turkey and forge new business relationships to drive investment into Nigeria's agro-processing industry and other sectors of the economy. The delegation, which was in attendance at the Forteg and Win Eurasia Istanbul Fair, the Konya Machine Technologies Fair in Konya, the Konya Agriculture Exhibition 2022, and the 17th edition of the Agro Expo International Agriculture and Livestock Exhibition, all in Turkey, said it aims to further exploit the current bilateral cooperation potential between Nigeria and Turkey and seek investment in the nation's agriculture sector, in line with the federal government's vision for an agriculture-based economy to drive job creation and achieve food security. Oyinye Nwachinemere reporting for OSBC News.
Come to our sports segment. Super Falcons of Nigeria will trade tackle with Lionesses of Morocco tonight at the ongoing Women's African Cup of Nations semi-finals holding in Prince Moulay Abdullahi Complex, Rabat. Oluwaranti Ojewumi has details of this and more from the world of sports.
impressive test of character tonight when they line up against hosts Morocco's Lioness in the second semi-final of the ongoing 2022 Women's Africa Cup of Nations in Rabat. The game will play inside Prince Moulay Abdullah Complex in Rabat. The Super Falcons have reached the semi-final of the CAF Women's Nations Cup 11 times. The Falcons have stopped at this stage on just 2 occasions in 2008 and 2015. Coincidentally, tournaments hosted and won by Equatorial Guinea. The Falcons, led by Randy Wardrum, have achieved their first target, which was a World Cup ticket. And now the focus is on putting the gloves on being Africa's best again. The Moroccans beat Botswana 2-1 in the quarterfinals, while the Falcons edged the indomitable Lioness of Cameroon 1-0 in a tension-soaked encounter. The Moroccans have come of age after muscling their way to the Women's World Cup, and they now dream of upstaging Africa giants, the Super Falcons of Nigeria. Though Renard Pedros, the coach, insists his lady will go for broke against Nigeria with their eyes not just on a final ticket, but the title itself. Pedros, a former France international, stated that they are ready to face the 9-time African champions. Meanwhile, Zlatan Ibrahimovic has signed a 1-year contract extension that commits him to AC Milan past his 41st birthday. The Sweden striker, who turns 41 in October, scored 8 league goals last season as Milan beat rivals Inter to the Serie A title. The former Manchester United and Paris Saint-Germain striker returned to AC Milan in 2020, helping them secure a first league title in 11 years. Also, on foreign sports, Napoli manager Luciano Spalletti believes Victor Osimhen will get better with more games. Osimhen returned for pre-season duty last week and has featured in 2 friendly games. The Nigerian international failed to find the back of the net in Sunday's friendly against Perugia, despite Napoli winning 4-1. The 22-year-old scored 14 goals in 27 league appearances for the Partenope during the 2021-2022 campaign. It has been Oluwaranti Ochewumi for OSBC News.
Moving on to the foreign scene. Legislators in India have cast their votes to determine who will be the next president, with Draupadi Murmu of Bharatiya Janata Party rumored to be the choice of the majority. Oluwatomi Sonyeyemi has the details of this and more from the foreign scene.
Indian legislators are voting to choose the country's next president in an election expected to be won by a tribal woman from the ruling Bharatiya Janata Party, BJP. The election of Draupadi Murmu is said to be a formality as Prime Minister Narendra Modi's BJP controls enough seats in federal and state legislatures to push its favored candidate. Murmu, aged 64, from the Santhal tribe, is also likely to get the support of other regional parties in state assemblies. If elected, she will become the first tribal president and the second female president of India. The votes which will be cast today will be counted on Thursday. Meanwhile, President Volodymyr Zelensky has suspended the head of Ukraine's spy agency and the prosecutor general, citing many cases of treason in the 2 powerful organizations. The officials, Ivan Bakanov and Erna Venediktova, have, however, not commented on the issue. Zelensky said that more than 60 former employees were now working against Ukraine in Russian-occupied areas, and such an array of crimes against the foundations of the national security of the state pose very serious questions to the relevant heads of the 2 organizations. Experts have warned that Western France is facing a heat apocalypse as extreme temperatures continue to hit much of Europe, with firefighters battling wildfires and thousands forced to evacuate, with blazes in Spain, Portugal, and Greece forcing thousands more to flee. Record temperatures are also expected in parts of the UK, which has its first ever red extreme heat warning in place, forcing railway companies to cancel services and health authorities to put more ambulances on standby. Also, the London Underground Metro network has imposed temporary speed restrictions, meaning it would run a reduced service with journeys taking longer than normal, and it has urged commuters to travel only if essential. Elsewhere, Health authorities in Ghana have officially confirmed 2 cases of the Marburg virus, a highly infectious disease similar to Ebola, after 2 people who later died tested positive for the virus earlier this month. Tests conducted in Ghana came back positive on July the 10th, but the results had to be verified by a laboratory in Senegal for the cases to be considered confirmed. Ghana Health Service, GHS, said in a statement that further testing at the Institut Pasteur in Dakar, Senegal, corroborated the results. This is only the 2nd outbreak of Marburg in West Africa. The first case of the virus in the region was detected last year in Guinea, with no further cases identified. Oluwatomisi Oyeyemi for OSBC News.
And that ends the major report on OSBC TV. It was edited by Kayode Adebayo. I am Olubumi Ajiboye Agbola. Thank you for watching. Good night.